Hello, it is Throwback Thursday, May 23rd, 2019. Steve Sipress here with my first ever Facebook Live video that I am broadcasting from my business page here on Facebook at facebook.com/smallbizhelp, as opposed to my personal page where I've been doing them for over the last 2 years. I counted 802 straight days since I first started doing a Facebook Live video every single day. But I've been publishing all of those from my personal page. And so number one tip here, I paid a coach some good money to coach me on how to get more out of these Facebook Live videos that I've been doing every day. And the first thing he says is, well, you can't do them from your personal page. You got to do them from your business page, because because that's how Facebook works. And I don't want to get bogged down in all the details. Maybe I'll share that in the video in the future on a social media Saturday video. But anyway, thanks to that great advice. Well, let's see how it works out. This is my first one here on my business page. And I will share it to my personal page and everywhere else. And I share it on LinkedIn. Maybe you're watching the replay on YouTube, on my blog, on my podcast, all over Facebook, social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever. So maybe it's all the same for you, but it's new for me to be here on my business page. So Throwback Thursday, and I have an event that I host 3 times a year called the All-Star Entrepreneur Mastermind event. That came not from me, as most things do not come from me. It came from one of the attendees at one of my events who just said, Steve, man, this is like an all-star. It's like an all-star entrepreneur mastermind, or this mastermind is filled with all-star entrepreneurs, or something like that. And I was like, well, then we're going to call it the All-Star Entrepreneur Mastermind from now on. I host them 3 times a year. And this one's coming up next week, right here in sunny Scottsdale, Arizona, where the temperatures have been unseasonably spectacular in the low 80s, where they're supposed to be in the mid-90s. And so if this keeps up, then I'm going to have to rethink the event of a lot less time hanging out in the pool and a lot more time like hanging out in spectacular, fantastic weather. Either way, it only gets that hot for a couple hours a day anyway. So it's really beautiful weather most of the time this time of year here. It starts the day out in the 80s and gets up into the mid-90s. But if it starts the day in the low 70s and only gets up to 80s, I mean, everyone is hiking and camping and playing golf and bike riding and all kinds of things that usually have to be done at dawn or before dawn at this time of year. But now with this weather, people are doing it all in the middle of the day. It's fantastic. Anyway, let's get right to it. Throwback Thursday. Because I'm hosting my event next week, I was going through some of my stuff for events, and looking back, I was looking back for something about one of my events in the past. But look what I came across, a program from the 2006 edition of the Peter Lowe, that's Peter and his wife Tamara, the Peter and Tamara Lowe tour, called Get Motivated. Now, this is the 25th anniversary edition, so this thing been going on since, well, let's do the math. This was 2006, so that would be 1981 or 1982. And so since the early 80s, they've been hosting these events, and they're always a star-studded event. I don't even know if he does them anymore. I have another program here, by the way, from a 2010 event. So those are the 2 that I went to, but I know all kinds of people that have gone to them. I know all kinds of colleagues and people I know that have spoken out there at them. It's really a fantastic thing. Anyone out there that's been to a Peter Lowe event, let me know. Now, maybe I did something wrong here because I don't see anybody that's on here live, and maybe I didn't post this as a, public thing or something. I'll have to fix the settings. So maybe there's not going to be any comments here. But post them on the replay wherever you are if you want. Let me know if you've been to one of these, because they're really an amazing sight to see. And I'm going to give you a little insight for those of you that host your own events or speak at events or are looking to possibly use live events to make money in your business. I've hosted, I don't know, 500, 600, 700 events. I can't even count, hundreds of events for business owners. None like these. These are always in the biggest arena in the city. So Peter Lowe would rent out these 2, I think, They were both, yeah, when I was in Chicago. So they were both at like the All-State Arena or whatever it's called, where like the Chicago Bulls play and where the Chicago Blackhawks play hockey, like big arena. So big concerts come in there and play in front of 15, 18, 20,000 people, whatever. And he would come in and fill the place with amazing marketing and advertising to fill this place. But one of the pretty much main selling points, all he had to do to fill the place, to promote it, was just talk about who was going to be there. And so you see these star-studded names. There's the late, great Zig Ziglar, who had not, clearly, obviously, had not passed away yet, and he was there. It was one of his last speaking engagements, I remember. And these are people, you see Susie Orman and Larry King and Joe Montana and Colin Powell and Rudy Giuliani. Look at that back in the day. These were not all there in Chicago, although Zig was, but this is a national program for all of the events, the entire tour, held all over the country, and in each city there'd be different celebrities there. So Peter Lowe would get the local sports team coaches. So if it was in the middle of summer and baseball season, couldn't get the baseball, coach, the manager of the Cubs to show up. He's busy, he's working, but you could get Lovie Smith, who was the coach of the Chicago Bears, to show up, and you could get the coach of the Bulls to show up, and that kind of stuff. And so he would do that in all the different cities, and then he'd have a bunch of politicians. You see, like Rudy at the time was an America's mayor of New York, and a leading candidate, he thought, for in the polls at least, for one of the 2012 election or something like that. So he was still a big shot politician. And Colin Powell, name was mentioned all the time to run for president, and he was the Secretary of State. So those are some big names in politics, and you have some big sports names. Joe Montana, I think the one I saw, Terry Bradshaw was speaking at that one, and a couple of other of these, big-time ex-athletes, Hall of Fame athletes. And then you had people from the media world, like Susie Orman and Larry King from TV. And then I was going to say you had politicians, but I already said that. So as I go through here, you see like, Jerry Lewis. Who's this one? Oh, it's an article. So this thing has articles, and then it has all these note worksheets in the back to take notes on the different speakers, how to get the most out of the event, how to find gold mine of prospects, and how to deliver 5-star customer service. Here's John Gruden when he won a Super Bowl. And you got all these, they got a lot of articles in here, but okay, back to the start. So there's Ed McMahon from Johnny Carson fame, and Mikhail Gorbachev. Although, is it really? Yeah, Mikhail Gorbachev, one of the speakers, and Senator Elizabeth Dole, and President Gerald Ford, and William Shatner. How about that? Live long and prosper. How do you do that thing? Yeah, there you go. Well, all right, so all that kind of good stuff. Oh, they're on the back. So George Foreman and Jimmy Carter, you see there, and George Bush, and a whole bunch of stuff, and generals and all that kind of stuff. And then 2010, oh, look, I have the tickets. I have some tickets for the 2010. So you see Mike Ditka. See, there you go, an ex-Chicago head coach. Brian Tracy from the business world, Joe Montana, Terry Bradshaw, Steve Forbes. Now, later on, Steve Forbes, I met him, hung out with him a little bit. And actually, he told me I should become a contributor to Forbes.com, and I have to follow up on that. Oh, geez, I just spoke to someone about that, so got to follow up on that. General Stanley McChrystal, I think he became famous later by being fired by Obama or something. I think Obama fired all the generals, right, because they wanted to be generals, and he wanted them to be weak, and they didn't like that. And I think they all kept leaving him. Trump has them leaving him for different reasons. So, leaving cabinet offices and then generals leaving and all that kind of stuff is not new, although the anti-Trumpers would make you think like, oh, this is unprecedented. None of this has ever happened before. And of course, it always happens. Welcome to America. Anyway, so here's the deal. Peter Lowe would put out a ton of money, as you can see. He's paying all these speakers whatever their speaking fee, $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000. And then he's got to fill the arena with radio ads, TV ads, newspaper, full pages, and local magazines. Got all kinds of direct mail going out, all kinds of marketing for this thing. Lots and millions and millions of dollars to fill these arenas. So how does he make money? I mean, there's got to be a point to this thing. Well, here's how it works, and here's what you can do as well. You fill the event with, these are what's known as whales, right? Well, you don't see pictures on the cover here, but you got 40 pages of speakers. So again, you got the whales, right? These whales mean a big guest that can fill an arena, like George Bush, like, you have 40 pages of them. Like Gerald Ford, like Joe Montana, on and on, right? So these people can fill the arena. Somebody will want to come just to see Zig Ziglar, just to see William Shatner, to see Joe Montana, although not just to see them, to see this all-star collection of whales, of big names. You might see just one of them at an event. I've had some of these speak at my events. Brian Tracy spoke at one of my events, and I've spoken, George Foreman, I've spoken at events with some of these people and hung out with them. But you might get one of those anchoring a big event, big whale to fill the place. And then the rest of the event is all the annual gathering of the all-state insurance representatives. But they'll bring in one big athlete and they'll spring for the 25 grand to get them up on stage and get everyone all pumped and excited. So to see like one after the other, like boom, 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 a little break, boom, 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 a little break, boom, boom, boom. It's like what I call an all-star event, right? It's like watching the same thing happens actually in sports, right? If you go to a sporting event, you might go to a game and you'll see one all-star from the other team coming into the field, or one future Hall of Famer. There's one big star in the other team. But if you go to the all-star game, if you're watching on TV, every single batter just about is going to end up in the Hall of Fame. They're all, bashing out 40 homers a year and hitting 300, and all the pitchers are striking everybody out and doing whatever and like winning every game all year. So that's what this event is like. It's like an overload, a boom, 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 boom. But here's the secret. Here's how Peter Lowe makes the money. He gets the whales to fill the arena, and then 3 of the slots, 3 or 4, if I remember. Oh, and Kevin is here. Great to see you. So maybe I do have it set up on live, but I guess I don't see anybody else here because this is the first one I'm ever doing from my business page, and nobody knows I'm here on the business page except my man Kevin from halfway across the world. So good morning to you, Kevin, out in the Philippines. And so does the Get Motivated tour ever come to the Philippines? I don't think so. Have you ever been to this? It's really exciting. But so here's what happens. There's 3 or maybe 4 slots throughout the day where there is a sales pitch. So somebody comes out that no one's ever heard of. So all day long, everyone's heard of everybody. All the MC, which is Peter Lowe, has to come out and just say, hey, now here he is, Terry Bradshaw, 4-time, Super Bowl winning, Hall of Fame, this and that, host of a TV show, to whatever, and boom, out he comes. And here comes the next guy, and everybody is like excited to see him. And then, after a couple hours of that, right before lunch, out comes somebody no one ever heard of to talk about how to make money in the stock market, how to trade on your own from home and trade your own IRA. And so he comes out, and for an hour, 15 minutes, he's someone no one ever heard of. So no one claps when he's announced. They're like, who's this guy? Looking through the program, I don't even see anything about this guy. What's going on? How did he get in here? I guess he's a late-minute fill-in or something. But he comes out, and he talks about how, man, you can now have a friend who I worked with when I was at the SIBO, the Chicago Board Options Exchange in Chicago. For about a year I was there. And one of the traders that I worked with, one of my closest friends there, actually, when he left Chicago, he went to Salt Lake City, and he works at the company where this guy, this is why I remember him so well, that spoke at these Peter Lowe events and sold the whole trading system. He worked at that company, my friend Turf. So this guy comes out and he talks about, oh man, you don't want a mutual fund where somebody else is making all the decisions about what to buy, hold, sell, this, that, whatever, and you're paying all these fees. Like, you want to trade on your own, and here's our software to do it. this will give you a green arrow when it's time to buy something, a red when it's time to sell something, and you can decide. It'll give you 20 choices of something to buy and 10 to sell and this and that, and you're on your own, so you're not paying all these fees. You're not at the mercy of somebody else doing things. This thing is all set up and it's automatic from, and we're going to give you the whole first month for $1 or for $9 or some ridiculously low amount of money, so that you have not seen a stampede to the back of the room, as they say, for people that sell from the stage, as you will for an irresistible offer like that. I mean, it's the wow strategy incarnate, right? He's got the ideal target market. These are a lot of self-employed business owners, entrepreneurs. Who else is taking the whole day off to come to a business event and learn all about business? Because even though they're celebrities and they're generals and politicians, they're all talking about business. They're all talking about how, a general will talk about, well, in business, you got to have leadership, and this is how you lead your employees, I said your troops, your employees. And so all of it is about business oriented, and they market to business owners. And so out they come to these self-motivated, freedom-loving, self-responsibility believing people. And they say the whole pitch is how don't let the banks and the big Wall Street guys determine your future with your hard-earned money. You can do that yourself from your office on your thing, blah, blah, blah. And man, got to be, out of the 15,000 people there, easily 1,000 people are going to sign up for this thing. Well, now, after a month of using this thing for $1 or $9, I mean, they got to charge something so that they know the person's for real. You don't want to do a totally free offer. You might be asking $1. What, that's not, why would they not just give it free? What's $1? Well, bunch of reasons. I'll give you some help here, some tips if you're not familiar with this strategy. The irresistible offer, but you want to make it something so that they go to the back and they fill out their form and they give their credit cards. Now the credit card's on file, and it says on the form, you understand that if you like it and you keep it, we will conveniently just charge your credit card every single month for the low fee of $39, or whatever the thing is on an ongoing basis. But if you can just let us know, it's easy to cancel. You call, you go to the website. Back then you send a fax, you do whatever you want to do. There were no smartphones then, no text messaging to cancel. But, you want to get their agreement that if they like it and they stay, which, come on now, Peter Lowe wouldn't put somebody out there that had some piece of crap software. So the software is great, and you're practically giving it away, but you're not totally giving it away. And you also don't want ridiculous people that are never going to use it and to sign up for a free trial and then all just cancel anyway. What was the point? Now, because it's going to cost you money, by the way. So somebody signs up for a $1 trial, and then you send them out a letter, and you start sending them emails, and you might even have someone on staff make a phone call, and you might send a little welcome gift, and you've got to have all the bandwidth of your software on the website and all that kind of stuff. So it definitely costs you money you see all these offers out there for just pay the shipping, we'll send you the book. And you're like, well, $6.95 for shipping for a book. Give me a break. I mean, they got to print the book. They got to buy an envelope. They got to put postage on it. And they got to pay for the ad that you saw to get the free book with the shipping. They likely lose $10, $15 on every single book that they give away. So at least they get a few bucks towards it. So the same thing here. And so they'd have a stampede. Let's say 1,000 people sign up for this software, and only 90% don't even use it, and they forget about it, but 10% use it, and therefore they love it, and they're making money. That's 1,000 people, that's 100 people. Now you got 100 people times 39 a month, you got $4,000 a month, 50 grand a year. So 50 grand, and if they keep it for 2 years, you got 100 grand. But let's just say they keep it for a year, which is probably low for the people that do that and like doing it. They keep doing it, right? And as their account builds, they make more and more money. I have a client who does this, and as accounts build, they make more and more money, and they love him even more and more and more. So, but let's just say they keep it only a year. That's 50 grand. Well, let's say there's 20 stops on the tour. 20 stops, 50 grand is $1 million. So he brought in $1 million with that one guy coming out, and all those numbers, I believe, got to be low. I mean, the cost of that software could be $69 a month, could be $99 a month. You can get 2,000 people to sign up and get 200 to stay, you can get 300, 400 to stay. Who knows? But he's making millions of dollars from that one speaker, and he'll do that 2, 3, 4 times during the day. So that's how the money's made, and that's how the money's made at a lot of events. They'll bring in the whales, and there will be a ton of content and a ton of great content, kind of great stuff at the event. All kinds of also having the sponsor booths, which there were at this event, there will be at any event, and the sponsors pay money to them, so that helps to pay all the overhead and the expenses. The sponsors are paying lots of money, and then the sponsors are selling their stuff. And so you can learn a lot from going to events, even if you don't buy the stuff for the sponsor, just by talking to them. Hey, what do you got? What'd your thing do? Tell me about it, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I've done that over the years, and then, of course, I'm going to end up taking out my credit card and buying anything when it sounds like it's good and it's worthwhile. But I also, even if I don't buy it, I'm finding out all about it. See, because I have clients. And I'm always recommending stuff to my clients, and they're always asking me, hey, do you know this guy? And what about this? And what do you think of that software? And what do you think of this thing? And it's a good thing I went around and talked to all the sponsors of all these events. So you can learn a lot at these events. You can learn a lot from all the speakers. At this one, you can even get motivated and get all excited. But then the money's made when you take advantage of the irresistible offers that pop up and the people that keep them. And the event host makes lots of money, and then they can do it again the next year and the next year and the next year. And guess who's happy? All these speakers get their multiple 5-figure speaking fees. I assure you, they're all happy. In fact, they're clamoring to get on the stage and saying, please put me on that tour for 40 dates at 25 grand a pop, and they make $1 million for the tour. And all the advertising outlets, all the newspapers and magazines, and all the arenas and all the security guards of the arenas and the cleanup crews and the concession staff that sells hot dogs and drinks all day at the event, they're all happy. The insurance company's got to get as happy. The roadies, the setup and takedown crew, they're all getting paid. They're all happy. Everyone that attends the event and leaves and gets motivated is happy. And everyone that takes advantage of any of those irresistible offers and uses the stuff and loves it, they're all happy. It's a win, 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 win. Every single person wins. Even the people that don't, of course, buy anything there, they win because they had a great time. And then if there's someone like me, they're watching the whole thing like a hawk. And I'm not just watching any event I attend. I'm not just watching as an attendee, as a passive attendee in the audience. I did when I first started going to events. But now, and even back then, I was watching them saying, wow, I see what they're doing there. And I see there. And I can look back, maybe I'll find them somewhere. I have notes from events where I would take 3-column notes. So I would take notes in the first column on what they're saying. In the second column, I would take notes on how I could apply that into my business. So that wouldn't, there wouldn't be something there on every single thing they said. And in the third column, I take notes on what's going on with the event, what time the speaker started, what time the speaker ended, how long the break was in between, when this happened, when the lunch happened, what the MC said right before the lunch, what the MC said when he introduced somebody, or when the salesman speaker came off the stage, what did the MC say? Did he say, now it's time to break for lunch, but don't forget, he's only taking 1,000 of these, hurry up and go, what did he, so I took 3 columns, okay, as the attendee. I suggest everybody take at least the 2 columns, what they said, and then how I can apply it to my life, my business, which are for small business owners, face it, folks, right? It's almost always the same thing. And the third column, for those of you that understand there's a ton of money to be made and a ton of value to be given and a ton of fun to be had when you're hosting live, a ton of work to be done too, but when you're hosting live events, that third column of what's going on at the event that I can learn from, and later on I can keep the good and throw out the things I don't like. And speaking of events, my All-Star Entrepreneur Mastermind is coming up next week in Scottsdale, Arizona. And just today, I had another person register, and he's coming for over 1,000 miles away. And I was like, man, I thought I'm even getting late notice from people that are in town here going, oh, that's kind of late notice. Even though I've been trying to get a hold of them for a while. And then I have special VIP guests that I'm inviting in addition to anyone can come wants to hang out with some super sharp entrepreneurs. Now, here's the thing. The All-Star Entrepreneur Mastermind does not have these kind of people that are well known to the general public it has people that are all-stars in the world of being an entrepreneur. So you might not even know the name, but you'll know when I talk about the product, the service, the software, who they are behind the scenes of, that they're the #1 expert on this, or they do all of the such and such for this celebrity or this person, or they partner up and actually built that whole system for this person that everybody knows, or this Shark Tank guy, or this whatever. They're the right-hand man of this. That's the kind of people I get at my All-Star Entrepreneur Mastermind events. If you're on my business page at Facebook, where I'm recording this, at stevesipress.com/smallbizhelp, when I was going through setting up for this video, Facebook was like, "Oh, do you have any event? You have no events coming up," it said. And I was like, "Well, of course I do." So then it was, okay, what's the name? What's the date? So I put that in. You can scroll down probably, or click on the side where it says events, and you can see all about it. You can see a highlight video, my last one. But they're star-studded in our own way, and the same thing should happen in your business, okay? And the same thing should happen to you. You should look to build yourself into an all-star, into a celebrity in your world, so that you are somebody and you can command fees and lots of attention when you speak and get people that clamor to see you in your industry. It means when you walk through an airport, it doesn't mean anyone's going to recognize you, except maybe another plumber comes up and goes, "Hey, aren't you Mike that was on stage at the plumbing convention? I loved what you talked about, and I love your website. I signed up for your thing, and I'm a plumber over in this city," and blah, 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 blah. That's what I mean about being an all-star entrepreneur. You don't have to be Mr. President of the United States or whatever. But you want help with any of this stuff, by the way, you go to helpfromsteve.com. So you can check out the All-Star Entrepreneur Mastermind by looking at the events on my page, stevesipress.com, facebook.com, /smallbizhelp. But you can get help from me. As always, you go to helpfromsteve.com. I'll help you with any of this. I'll help you with getting more out of attending events. I'll help you with hosting your own events. I'll help you with attracting the right whales to come to your event. I'll help you with how to sell at your event. I'll help you with, if you're attending an event, how to know whether to buy something or whether to pass on it. I'll help you to know what events you should attend and which ones you should definitely stay away from. I can help you with and all kinds of other things to do with events. So helpfromsteve.com, as always, go there. Phil is here. Great seeing you. And yeah, Phil, that's a great way of putting it. And what a better way to end this than advice from someone who was a concert producer or promoter or manager, or what do they call you? We're a road manager? I mean, come on now. Anyone ever heard of Elvis Presley, Jimi Hendrix, Three Dog Night? I'm dating myself. But not as much as Phil is dating himself, because when I was a kid and I was into all those things, like Phil was actually like managing those acts on the road. And so Phil says, he says, like concerts for entrepreneurs. Exactly. You get a big arena. You get lots of stars coming out. This is like the Live Aid for entrepreneurs. There you go. See that? So I can help you with that stuff. Go to helpfromsteve.com. Otherwise, that'll do it for Throwback Thursday, a little trip down memory lane. Great to see you here, Phil, and anybody else that's here. And thanks for all the likes. And Manny is here. And I'm sure there's other people. Facebook isn't showing me, or I don't know what I'm doing here on my Facebook page. But I'll get used to this. From now on, folks, I'm going to be coming to you live every day, God willing, here from my Facebook business page at facebook.com/smallbizhelp. And speaking of help, you can always go to helpfromsteve.com, and I'll help you out with this, or you would learn pretty quick with just about anything else that has to do with a small business owner looking to make more money, have more fun, and have less stress, because isn't that what owning a business really should be? And unfortunately for many business owners, most business owners, it's the complete opposite. Way too much stress, no fun at all, and not making as much money as you deserve and you should as the backbone of America, the backbone of the world, small business owners. Anyway, off the soapbox for today. That'll do it for Throwback Thursday. Thanks, everyone, being here live. Thanks for watching on the replay. And I'll be back tomorrow on Foundation Friday. I'll give a foundational, basic business building tip right here on my Facebook page, Small Biz Help. Hope you'll join me then. Thanks, everyone, being here today. Over and out. I got to click this twice. Bye-bye.